Hello artist, welcome. In this video, I'm gonna try to demonstrate how I paint this dark skin toned girl. And I will do my best not to fast forward anything on this video. Since I only have one camera, I kind of missed some parts of the process. So I apologize in advance. So here, the first thing that I did, I prepared the three basic colors that I'm gonna be using for this dark skin tone girl. So the three basic colors that I used here is this one. It's the burnt umber, and then this is the ochre, and then the third one is this color. It's like a skin tone, kind of mauve skin tone color. This color is like a combination of ochre, peach, and white. That's what I'm thinking. Before I forget, that middle color that is on the palette, that's actually a combination of burnt umber and the ochre. So for the third shade, I did not use that peach color totally. I mixed it up with the umber and the ochre. So let's just mix this up until it's well combined. Then I decided to add a little bit more so that it's much more lighter. And if you notice, the three colors are just three shades of brown, which is a dark brown, medium brown, and then a light brown. After I was satisfied with the colors, I put a little bit of water on them to make them creamier. And after that, I just mix it using my palette knife until they are well combined. So most of the time, the texture that I'm looking for when I'm mixing my gouache is like the melted ice cream. Since I was not satisfied with my medium brown, I decided to add that pink peach color and then added a little bit more of that ochre color. So here's our three basic colors for our dark skin toned girl. I actually started painting at this point, however I forgot to change the angle of the camera. So I am really sorry about that, but I'm gonna show you what I've done so far. So at this point, I just painted some parts of our girl's face with the lightest brown that we just made. So I usually call this kind of color as the base color. So it's like the overall color of the skin, and then we just use shadings afterwards. And by the way, I'm actually using a filbert brush. Most of the time whenever I use gouache, I use filbert brushes because I don't know, for some reason it's friendly with the gouache. Then I just use slimmer brushes whenever I paint portions of the face that are narrow or have little spaces. Now let me just lay this first color that we just used so that we can compare it with other colors later after they are all dry. Now it's time for the second shade, which is the medium brown that we just mixed, and I'm just gonna put them on the parts of the faces that has that color. Now, to be honest, I actually don't blend colors whenever I use gouache. I just layer them so that it would look blended, but I don't really blend them at all. So the medium color that we're currently using, it's like the shadow of the face as well, but not the darkest shade of the shadow. So that's why I just put them on the parts of the face that doesn't have the darkest shadow, but still is a shadow. Oh, just in case you wonder, I actually have a reference photo, but I'm not gonna copy that reference photo. I will just base my painting on that reference photo, but it's kind of almost the same. Let me just show you that. Our beautiful Nokia. So yeah, like I said before, I'm just applying all the medium colors on the parts of the face where it has the mid shadows or the medium shadows. And yeah, I think I really have to fast forward this part since it might take a while before we finish this video. Alright, so while this process is ongoing, I actually think that the best way that you can learn or be good at painting is to practice painting with references. That way you can study what kind of colors there is on a face of a person or maybe on a certain object that you want to paint. Before I started painting like my original artworks, most of the time I just practice painting with references. So yeah, I think that way you can study at the same time be good at colors or color combinations. And now I'm starting to put the darkest shade of our brown. So I started off with outlining the eyes. Usually when I outline slim lines, I don't do it in one go. I usually do it in a gradual manner. That is to avoid some mistakes and make it as perfect as possible. And then I proceed with doing her eyebrows. In doing slim lines such as this, you really have to have patience. You have to make sure that you're doing it slowly but surely. Then I added some eye bags because for me, the personality of an eye is through the eye bags. Then let's outline the iris and the pupil of the eyes. Using the same method and technique from what we did on the other eye, let's do it again on the other part of her eye and eyebrows. Now let's put the dark shadows on her nose so that it would look more like a nose now. Most of the time, the shadows of the nose with this kind of angle of the face is just right beneath our nostrils, just like so. And now it's also time for our lips. If you notice, most of the time the lips of African people has dark or has brown outline all over their lips. So that's what we are doing right now. We're gonna outline the lips of our girl here with the dark brown as well. Also, this kind of style will make the lips more pouty looking. Then here I decided to put more dark outline at the edge of her lips and then in the middle so that it would look more pouty. Then I went back with the middle shadow color, and then added that on the other edge of her lips so that there's depth. I also want to point out that while I was doing her lips, I keep on looking at the reference photo to kind of imitate how pouty her lips are. And let's not forget her cupid's bow as well. I decided to go back with our medium brown so that we can add more shadows on the parts of her nose, and yeah, it would help the nose to look more like a nose. Then I just added a little bit more of that medium brown around the nose bridge as well and under the eyes. Now let's go add more dark shadows on the face of our girl here, and then on her neck and on the décolletage. And here right now, as you can see, I'm just slowly adding this dark brown on the hollows of her cheeks. And then later I will connect this dark brown on her neck and jawline. Then this direction is going up to her ears. Now let's go add that dark brown as well on her temples. And then I'm gonna connect the shadows on her temples right through the shadows that we have on the hollows of her cheeks. Then before I forget the shadows of her ears, I took a smaller brush and then put that same color on the shadows of her ears. Then I just went back again with that medium brown that we made and then applied that on the parts of her ears that needs that color. Now it's time for the lower part of our girl, which is the neck and the décolletage. So I started off with the outline of the neck, then proceeded with the medium shadow. It's not the medium shadow, but if you can see that part where I skipped some of the shadows that I put there as a pencil. That's gonna be the darkest shade, which is gonna be the color black. So just following the darkest shadows of our reference, I'm just laying out all of those parts where it has that shade, that dark brown. So after that, I went back again with our medium brown. Then I decided to fill out that space between the shadow and the eyebrows with that medium brown. Then I fill out that space as well with the lightest brown that we made so far. Now we're on to the last part or last step of this part 1 video, but don't worry, I'll be uploading the part 2 of this tutorial. So yeah, for the last part of this part 1 video, I'm just gonna show you how I added the color black, which will be serving as the darkest shadow of our painting. So I'm just adding that right beneath the chin. Then just right beneath our lips. Then in between the upper lips and the bottom lips. And then just below the nose or the nostrils. Then of course the eyes, I want the eyes to pop, so I darkened some parts of the eyes or the outline of the eyes so that it will pop and it would look more attractive to the eyes. And I'm just gonna do the same with the other eye. Alright, so this is the end of our part 1 video in painting a dark girl. So make sure to watch the part 2 and see how I finish this painting. But right now, I'm just showing you the first 4 colors that we just used on this painting. So see you on my next video. Bye!